I recently put up a Q&A on my Instagram and someone asked what the lowest points were in my baseball career. So I made a response to that and I said, like this if you want to see a YouTube video on it, because it was probably too long for Instagram. It got probably the most likes of any video I've ever put up or any story I've ever put up on Instagram. So here we are. Now, there was 4 key times I really feel like I hit that rock bottom in baseball. And the reason I'm making this video is so you guys know that everyone has these moments. Sometimes it's not a single lowest point. Sometimes you get to what feels like a new low or just as low as the lowest of your lows. And that's okay. Everyone that plays a sport long enough has these moments and you find your way out of them one way or another. Now, the other thing you'll notice by the end of this video is that there was a theme of what happened to me after every single one of these moments. So I'll take you through all 4 of them. We'll start out with the first one. The first one was when I was a freshman in college. For those of you who don't know, I went to Babson College. I absolutely loved it there. I had amazing coaches, some of my best friends to this day. But I really did struggle my freshman year. My freshman year, I went into college. I was probably underprepared overall. I was a smaller guy. I wasn't very mature in a lot of ways. And thankfully I had older guys on the team over the course of my career that really helped me grow up and were awesome big brother figures to me. But my freshman year, I struggled severely. I went into college and I thought I was going to be a stud on the team right away, which was not the case. I started off okay, and by the end of the season, I pretty much had just slumped through the entire last 3 quarters of the season. I wasn't putting up good at bats. I was making stupid plays when I was out there. Pretty much everything you could mess up, I was messing up. And the season ended and we started summer ball, and I started off summer ball and I think I was 1 for 6. And I had a lot of belief in myself going into college. I expected to be a really good player. I was confident in myself. And I remember this moment exactly. I was playing a summer ball game. I remember the exact field, the exact town. I was running out to right field and I was 1 for 6 to start the summer. And I remember thinking to myself at that moment, like, I might actually just not be good at baseball. Like, it might just be as simple as I'm not good. And even the one hit I had was a bloop single, and it just felt like I couldn't do anything right on the field. I wasn't making any crazy plays. I was getting thrown out on the bases. Like, everything you could mess up that could go wrong would go wrong. And my at-bats, it's not like I even had points where I was lining out or anything like that. It was just bad at-bats, swinging at bad pitches, missing pitches I should hit. Everything that could go wrong was going wrong for me at this point. And I remember thinking that. I was just past the infield dirt. I was thinking, as I was about to start warming up for that inning, that I might just not be good at baseball. And right after that, I went on probably the hottest streak, maybe to this day in my baseball career, or at least one of them. I started the summer 1 for 6. I think I doubled my next at bat, an opposite field double, which was very uncommon for me at that time. And I think 4 of my next 5 or 6 at bats, I hit 2 or 3 more doubles, got hits. And on that summer, I ended up hitting 500 and winning the MVP of the league. It was not a crazy talented league. It was a New York college baseball league. There was a couple of D1 guys, but mostly D3 players. Nothing special, but that low that I hit, right after that, I caught absolute fire, and I really felt like I got out of that. And I was going into my sophomore year feeling good. Like, I had that confidence about myself again. I was feeling great. And yeah, so that low moment where I was literally questioning if I was good enough to play Division III college baseball was followed up with an MVP that summer. So that felt really good, and that was a big turning point for me, showing me that I was good enough after really not even believing in myself. Now, the next lowest point happened my next year at Babson, where we went down to Florida to start the season. I had a really good first weekend, and we came back up north, didn't play for a week, went back down to Florida, and I had the worst week I've ever had on a baseball field. I went 2 for 22, and I remember the 2 hits I had. One was a bloop double that was probably misplayed and should have been an out, and the other one was a ground ball single. So I don't even think I hit a ball hard the entire week in 22 at bats. And a couple other guys on my team had rough weeks, and we get back and we were going through it. We went back, we had a doubleheader, and I remember in that doubleheader, I started the first game, went 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts, swung and missed 4 or 5 times, and it felt like there was a hole in my bat. And I really just felt like there was almost nothing I could do. And a couple of moments kind of helped turn me around out of this. I remember I got an email from my coach the next morning, and he said, "Hey, I understand if you don't want to hit, but let me know if you want to take some swings. I'm around today." Woke up, got it, sent him a message right back, went into the gym and got some swings in, and I felt a little bit better physically about what I was doing. And then our coach also gave us a big speech, our whole team, because we had 3 or 4 of our better players struggling. He said, "You guys are clearly not having the numbers you want right now." Essentially, he said this, I should say. "You guys clearly aren't producing the way you want to right now. It's not going to be one big game that breaks you out of it. It's grinding out every single at bat. And I want you guys to have the goal of walking away from every game with a hit and a walk. Don't try and get it all back every single at bat. Grind them out, get a hit and a walk every game." So we're on the bus going to the next game, and I remember we were pulling up to the field. It was in Northborough, Massachusetts, and I didn't think I deserved to play that game. Wasn't confident in myself. It was the first time I really didn't even want to get off the bus and step on the field. And thankfully for me, my coach believed in me enough to put me in that game, and I had 2 hits that game. And I forget the exact amount of games after that, but again, went on one of the hottest runs of my baseball career, where I was hitting right around 200 after that doubleheader where I got benched. And after that, my average climbed until I got up to 360, I remember. Every single game, I went on a long hitting streak, and it wasn't that I was getting 4 or 5 hits or games. It was 4 or 5 hits a game. It was a 1 for 2, a 2 for 3, couple walks, just having good at bats over and over again. And that's what really led me to getting out of that. So another moment where I was feeling like I couldn't hit water if I fell out of a boat. And right after that, it felt like I couldn't get out even if I went up there without a bat, really. So it was cool how that really translated, and I give a lot of credit to my coach for that one, because all of those guys that were struggling ended up reviving their seasons and playing really well. Now, the third time, and this was a low point for probably almost everybody, so I'll go briefly over this one, but when COVID hit, our team at Babson was ranked number 3 in the country. We had only played 3 games, but it was against another top 5 D3 team, and we won 2 of them. And obviously, season's canceled. Everyone thinks their college career is over. This, that, and the other. Everyone who is a part of that knows that feeling. And again, I'm not trying to say you should feel bad for me for that, but everyone knows, and that was probably a low point for a lot of guys. But for me specifically, I felt terrible because we were such a close team, and we thought we were going to win a World Series that year, or at least compete for one at the very least, after coming off of a World Series run the year before. So it was very unfortunate we didn't get to find out what had happened. But again, that led to another really cool part of my life where over COVID, I had upwards of 10, 15 guys in my backyard doing live at bats. I had guys from all over town that I hadn't seen in a while, and some people I really didn't even know at the time coming into my backyard, throwing bullpens, live at bats, everything. In those days, granted there was a lot of uncertainty with COVID, were some of the most fun days in my life. And also I have friends now to this day that were because of that, where we were training every day together, and some of my best friends came because of that COVID situation where we figured out how to make the best of it, and we were playing baseball every single day. And honestly, that was some of the most fun baseball, because we were just out in the backyard having fun, didn't really know what was going on, and it was just like, well, we might as well enjoy today and go compete with each other and see what happens. So that was one of the coolest things that I feel like happened out of a really bad situation. And I know there's plenty of guys who had other situations like that. And just for you guys too, it's a good example of something that's really terrible followed by a really high point. So there was that. And then the last one and the most recent one was my rotator cuff surgery. And I tore my rotator cuff probably about a year before I ended up getting it looked at. I thought that I just had shoulder impingement or something, and I was rehabbing it. And for like a year straight, I was spending hours a day working on my shoulder, just trying to be able to throw. Some days I literally couldn't throw a ball over probably 40 miles an hour without pain. And that was a long year for me where I was really trying to push myself to be a professional pitcher. And I just had a shoulder injury that wouldn't let me. So I remember I had signed up for Tread Athletics right after a bullpen, which I was 95 to 97 in. I was throwing a good splitter, which I had just learned, and I felt really good about myself. Honestly, looking back on it, I was nowhere near the level of pitcher I needed to be. I had some good stuff working for me, but I was not good enough at the art of pitching and the craft. So looking back on it, I was a little ignorant to think that what I did, but what I thought was, if I could throw 95, 97 in this indoor bullpen, why can't I go throw 100 and get signed on a Tread Pro Day? So I signed up for Tread. Next bullpen I throw 93, 96, felt good breaking ball, good changeup. And the next day after that, I couldn't throw a baseball. My arm was so sore. I remember the last pitch I threw of that bullpen was 96 too. Or 96 as well, and I was like, okay, I feel really good spot. This is the third bullpen in 3 weeks. I've been up to 96. I feel good about my shoulder now. And then again, the next day, couldn't throw a baseball even 60 feet. It hurt so bad. There wasn't a specific pitch, but it was what it was. So I went back through that ramp up process of all the shoulder work again, taking time off from throwing, started to ramp up to about 90 miles an hour. And I remember I was probably a few weeks from going down to Tread and my shoulder was still barking. So I went to the doctor hoping to get a cortisone shot. Get checked out. I have good strength in all the positions. They said they needed an MRI just to get it looked at. So did that. And I remember when I was driving to get my MRI results, I just had this bad feeling like there's got to be something torn. Like realistically, my shoulder shouldn't hurt for a year. It shouldn't hurt to the point where I can't cut food with a fork without having pain in my shoulder. It just shouldn't hurt. And right then at that moment, I know the exact stoplight I was at. I won't forget it ever. I knew that there was probably something wrong. Go in there and they said rotator cuff was torn, full thickness tear, needed a surgery if I wanted to have a chance of throwing pretty much ever again. But realistically, looking back on it, what they actually said was, you're not going to be able to throw again if you get this surgery, but this is your best hope to have a healthy shoulder. So my mindset going into it was, well, someone has got to prove that it's possible to throw hard again after one of these surgeries. There's got to be someone who's done it, regardless of how long it takes or whatever it takes to do it. I'll be the guy to do it. And that was my thought going into the surgery. Go into the surgery, I get the surgery, go through the recovery, start to feel healthy again, but the range of motion just never, or at least to this day, still hasn't come all the way back in my shoulder. And I've spent countless hours, countless sessions, 2-3 times a day working on my shoulder, trying to get it better. And it's improved a lot, don't get me wrong. If you're following along with the Road to 90 series, you'll see that I've gotten close to 90 miles an hour, up to 89, but not there yet. So it is coming back along, but it's not where it needed to be to try and make another run at playing. But the cool part about this is once I kind of started to face reality that I was not in a good position to throw the ball, I started to get more into coaching, and that's where all the hitting coach side has come in. And I've had some of my most fun days going to work with my guys and helping those guys get better on a daily basis. And I found just as much fulfillment in that, in being able to help all these other guys achieve their dreams, as I did my own. So I've had a fantastic time coaching, and I'm glad that at this point it's brought me to a spot where I'm able to help so many other players. So the moral of the story is all of these 4 extremely low points in my life where it felt like the end of the world at the time brought me into really good times in my life. And so you guys just have to understand that at the end of the day, you just got to keep marching forward. And as long as you keep marching forward, you will get through those bad times and into those good times where you're really loving what you're doing and having fun and it's feeling like a game how it should and you're enjoying your life the way you should. On top of that too, the other thing that I think is that you really have a better respect for those good times when you feel those really bad times. Without those bad times, you wouldn't have that same fulfillment from the good times. The good times only feel as good as they do because of how bad the bad times were. So I just wanted to make this video mostly because if you're going through a tough time, understand that it's not the end of the world. Keep marching forward. And when those good days hit, which they will, absolutely will, you are going to enjoy them that much more looking back and knowing how much better they were than that low point. So keep attacking every day. And if you're in a tough time, you got this and you're going to work your way out of it.